The reality, though, is that it takes a long time to bring the power online. So what are the solutions at this point? And are there trades based on this? Or is the timeline too long at this point?
There's no solutions in the near term. I mean, the fact that Microsoft, listen, this is actually one that I agree with. I mean, the community shouldn't be saddled with the burden of all these costs. So, good for the administration for finally addressing it. But it's been known for a long time. If you live in Northern Virginia, you absolutely know what's going on. With that said, it's a long fix, and Microsoft seems to be on board. What does it mean for the stocks? Well, it doesn't mean anything in terms of negative to downside. I think Vistra wins to this. I think names like Bloom Energy, which is ridiculous valuation, continue to win to this. And I'll say this, Microsoft, I think, into earnings on the 28th, this is as good a setup as you've seen in a long time. I mean, the stock has been awful now for the last 6 or 7 months. This level is the prior all-time high from the summer of 2024. I think you want to get long Microsoft into their release.
Virginia, the state with the most data centers in the United States, has seen electricity prices go up 14% year on year in the fourth quarter. Illinois, the second most data centers in the United States, up 16% year on year as of the fourth quarter of last year. So consumers are already feeling the pinch. Open up your bill, and you know what I'm talking about.
I think they're feeling it everywhere. The places you're highlighting may be data center concentrated, but who's not getting that notification from your utility company telling you when you should actually optimally use your appliances and whatnot, Guy?
Well, Tim, you have a smart refrigerator. You mentioned that. I don't even know what that means.
What else would I have? Yeah. So I do think back to the trades that, when you see a headline like this, I go back to nat gas and I go back to nuclear. I know the lead time on nuclear is a lot longer, although there's no question this administration has already talked about fast tracking. But I think about a Cheniere Energy. I think about LNG. I think nat gas is absolutely, especially those utilities that have targeted nat gas. And I would go to Constellation Energy with their Calpine acquisition. I mean, these are places where I actually think people are underestimating where nat gas is the solution of at least alternative, cheaper, cleaner power. I do think that the utilities overall and XLU look very interesting here. We've had a nice pullback in the XLU, and over time, even independent of this AI trade, this is, I think, an interesting opportunity.
Yeah, on the trading front, I mean, this can't be good for the neoclouds, right? So if the idea is that these, big cloud operators are going to use their profits, right, to kind of reduce the cost for everyday citizens on the energy front, I just think those companies, the neoclouds, are very unprofitable, and we know that, right? So they got to hit the debt markets. The other thing is Brad Smith also had an interview today with the FT, and he was saying that the Chinese have a lead here. And if you think about the Chinese and the lead that they have with the models in particular outside of obviously the U.S. and they're taken over in Africa and some of these other places. It's a digital belt and road. And if you think about it, the Chinese have the cheapest cost of capital and they have the cheapest cost of energy, right? And those two things are really, I mean, this is why Microsoft is warning against this. And I do think it's interesting that, yes, the regulation has been very favorable to these companies, but if you get caught in this kind of populist sort of situation where it's going to be very hard for a lot of these companies that are happy about the deregulation, but are building out these data centers with closed models versus the Chinese, again, with open source models. So this is where I think it's a battle. This is where this battle is going. We're going to hear a lot more about it in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, the cost of compute is much lower, as we learned from DeepSeek, in terms of the efficiency, but maybe that also plays into NVIDIA, whose latest chip is a lot more efficient in many ways.
Right. So, I mean, you could look at it, were you going to get a lot more bang for your buck, right, in terms of compute power, or was it just cheaper? But, I mean, I do think this, I agree with you, all of you, I think that this is a smart thing. It does play well, and it does seem fair, actually, right? So, and Microsoft is saying all the right things, including, well, look at China. And I don't know if that's a plea to the U.S. You got to help it. You got to even the playing field. I think it's going to be difficult to even the playing field because of this populist message. It does seem fair to me. So what are the implications of, on the margin now, data centers are more expensive, right? So financing will be a little more expensive. Does that mean that demand becomes, is there an inelasticity there? I think at the moment there is demand will go up regardless of price right now. So, and also, as you all said, it takes a while for this to play out. So I don't know that we can calibrate it so easily, but it's definitely not a positive. And I don't know who's going to get the cost. I mean, AWS, who are they going to pass the costs on to? Their customers? Do they eat some of it? I don't know.
Well,